Hey friends and family, thanks for tuning in to tonight's Thursday Night Thought. Tonight's thought comes to you from Orlando, Florida, where my husband and I and family are on vacation, and we just finished up a full day at the theme park, and I apologize for coming to you later than I normally do. It actually ties in really well to this week's message, and so does the t-shirt I'm wearing, which is the Texas Aggies football t-shirt, being in this location. And I'm just going to go ahead and dive into this week's message, but just know that we're going to go pretty deep tonight. So if you want to go grab a glass of wine or a cup of tea and pause this and come back later, we're going deep tonight. So I'm just giving you a fair warning ahead of time, okay? The message this week is this: you have been hesitant to trust your spiritual guidance because of your outside circumstances. Yet this is exactly why they are happening. For your healing. There is a spiritual team on your side, always and in all ways, planning a win-win. Ask for their guidance and step out in faith. Have no guilt or shame about this need for spiritual growth, for when you grow, everyone grows. There is so much to this message. So I think the place to start is when we talk about trusting our spiritual guidance. Our trust in our spiritual guidance is not based on our outside circumstances. I believe that's what this message was clearly communicating. That actually when our outside circumstances are going well or not going well, we make a decision to trust in those times in our lives and to trust our spiritual guidance. But it's much more difficult to actually trust when our outside circumstances are not matching our expectations or what it is we desire. And so this message is bringing in an element that there's a spiritual team that is on your side, on my side, that is creating a win-win in all ways, always. In all circumstances. And all we have to do is ask for their help, and they are there to support. In other words, whatever this team is for you, if it's the angels of your spiritual guidance, whatever it is for you, for me, it's my team of angels, and I call them in, and I know that I have to ask for their help, that it's not something that they can just intervene in our lives, because we're here to learn from this. We have free will. So we have to ask for that support. The cool thing about this message is if you are in a space in your life right now where your outside circumstances are not what you desire, or you're not trusting your spiritual guidance because of your outside circumstances, this message is going to open things up in a big way. Because what got brought into me is you can test this. Our spiritual guidance, yes, it seems like it's something within us or outside of us or not concrete or not logical. But the truth is, it's only our relationship with life and what we believe. And so when you ask for your spiritual team to come in and to create a win-win, or just even believe, there were points this week where I just said, let me believe in a win-win. I can't see it, but let me believe that that's possible. Then all things are working out, and we can trust that spiritual team is on our side. So I want to share with you a story that I think is going to take us all deeper into this experience, because it's the unseen, like I said, that really is the trust element in this message. So many of you know I wrote a book. I published it in 2015, and I set out on this journey. I ended up working with a coach and finding that I had a message, and I was going to share this message through an online program and all these different types of things, and create a career out of spending the last 3 years writing a novel, right? I wanted to make money from all the time and effort that I had put into it. So I hired this coach, business coach, and we got to a place in the business coaching where everything seemed to be going and falling into place. It's almost like I felt, oh, my spiritual guidance is in place. These angels are talking to me. This is great, right? Everything is in place to succeed. And then there came this point where I went to launch the business and it failed. It did not launch the way that we thought it was. We ran into several technical difficulties, all kinds of things that we couldn't get wrapped up. And at that point, I had exhausted the money that I had invested in creating this program. So at that point in my life, I had, number one, spent so much time focused on this part of my life that I really had pulled away from my family in some ways. I was shown this week that I actually have a spirit of a workaholic. I can become a workaholic very easily. Just like someone can be addicted to drugs and alcohol and sex or whatever it was, I was addicted to work, to creating. And I had to recognize that later on, but I'll tie that into the story here in a moment. But just know that this workaholism that I was facing had actually pulled me away from my family. Also, I couldn't pay my coach anymore because I didn't have any funds so I had to let him go. I also had an assistant that I ended up having to let go. And I remember coming to this place in my life. Actually, my dad was in town that weekend and sitting down with him at the kitchen table and just tears running down my eyes, looking at him saying, Dad, why? Why would everything be seemingly falling into place and then all of a sudden come crashing down around me? I mean, it was a matter of months, maybe a month. And I remember him praying for me because he's my prayer warrior, and coming to this place where I had to humble myself. And I was at a crossroads in my life where I was very torn inside. There was a deep inner question that I wasn't even aware of on the surface, but it was boiling deep down inside of me. And the question that I had because I had distanced myself from my family, would I be better off choosing a path of following my career and getting a divorce from my husband, and that's where I saw the success? Or would I be better off completely letting go of this dream that I've had in my heart and what I've seen myself in a career path? And I had to really sit with that. And I realized that the inner question was really about marriage, what I believed, what I desired in my life. And at the time, the other part is that our family business was struggling. We were going through some major challenges. So you can imagine when you're in a situation where everything's falling apart, where nothing outside of you looks like it's coming together in any way, shape, or form. If anything, it looks like your world's crumbling. And I had to humble myself and realize that that deep inner question of who I am, of what I believe, that is what was creating my reality. And how is that, you may ask? When I finally made the decision that I just needed to give up, and I called up my coach and said, hey, I don't have the money to pay you anymore, and I can't continue down this path. I called up my assistant crying. I mean, it was so heartening when you've worked so hard and you've put so much of your heart and soul into something. It's very difficult to let go. And I know you feel me right now because this shows up with our jobs. This shows up in our relationships. This shows up in many different aspects of our lives. But when I let go, something happened. And I went back into our family business. And I came back into my home and with my children and giving them my time and my attention. And I realized, I think it came in a vision actually, that I looked down the road and I said, if I was successful as, in this career path that I had chosen or seen in my mind, but didn't have my family and my husband, I wouldn't count that as success. When I looked down the path and saw my family and what it is we could create together and why it is I set on this path in the first place to write the book, because of everything it was we had created together, it was my true answer to what was underneath it all. And it wasn't until I dealt with this burning question within me of what I really believe and had an answer to that, that life began to show me these things. It will begin to show you these things, because I was on my knees praying, what is the win-win here? Well, do you know what the win-win was? The win-win is that I came back into my family. The win-win is that I stopped being a workaholic, even though I know that spirit will always be with me. It's something that I fight even to today. All it takes is an awareness of what is the deeper question within you, because life was saying, hey, you may think that this is going to bring you all the joy and be the answer to all your questions and be everything it is that you desire. But the truth is, you have a burning inner question. Until that is answered, that desire is recognized, that is where you're going to find peace. That is where you're going to find true contentment. So the win-win is that I was able to see that my family was able to see that I came back into our businesses and we got them nurtured and to a point where we could sell them and be in the situation where we're at now, where we collapsed our entire empire. We sold everything. We moved to Texas, and now we're taking off an entire summer to be with our kids. To me, none of that would have been possible if all I would have done was focus on what it should have looked like on the outside, which is what I saw in my heart. And sometimes these dreams of who we are and our greater selves and these even visions, I believe, are placed in our heart through our spiritual guidance. And our outside circumstances are serving us in that win-win. But it did take some humility to get to that point where I could see that within my own life. And now I have massive thanksgiving for going through that in my life, because I'm very stable in what it is I believe and who I am and what I know about myself. And I truly believe that that's the spiritual guidance that we're looking for. That's the spiritual guidance that keeps us moving forward toward our goal. It's in what is unseen. See, I believe God was working in that experience. God's working in whatever experience it is that is on in this unseen realm, no matter what is seen with our eyes. So today, I had it all planned that I was going to do my Thursday night thought. I was going to be on my coaching call tonight. I had all these different things planned that I needed to finish up for work. And my family came to me and said, I know you had this day planned to do your thing, but can you come with us? We want to spend time with you. And do you know that even to this day, I had to sit there and be like, are you kidding me? We've planned this. It was all planned out. Wait a second. Okay. I know where my priority is. I know where my heart is. And I had to take a moment and I closed the door and I just said a quick prayer to my spiritual team. and I decided to just go with my family for the day and come back later tonight and share this message with you. And so I hope that was a win-win for all of us. And the other part of that is that I actually had a chance to sit with my children in the car and say, hey, you know, when things don't happen the way that you want them to, sometimes you can be a little upset, but I want you guys to know that you're always my priority, and that I love you, and that I'm here for you, and work does not come above you. But that's hard to do when work is what brings in the money to our families, when work is what allows us to feel our purpose many times, or in my case, made me feel like I was accomplishing something, when in reality, I wasn't. And if I stayed home today, I don't think I would have gotten much accomplished, and I think I would have felt pretty bad. But have no guilt or shame about this need for spiritual growth, for when you grow, everyone grows. And it's okay to be honest. It's okay to go to those deeper places. It's okay to check in with yourself and find out what that burning question is. Because if you can get to that type of level of honesty and authenticity within yourself, you will see that your outside circumstances are serving in every way, and it's creating a win-win for all of us. Because spirituality isn't just about me. It's about the connection that we all have together in discovering these greatest parts of ourselves and sharing that with the world. So thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to sharing our next Thursday night thought together.